Sallian Insider!
Hi, I'm Alexa Rosauro.
And I'm Igo Santiago. You're the
Sallian
Sallian Insiders.
So, Igo, ba't ka nga ba pumapasok sa school?
Alam mo naman, para makita si Crush. Ikaw, Alexa.
Well, alam mo naman, it's to get quality education from one of the top schools in the country.
Pero sa totoo lang, we all go to school for one thing.
Para humingi ng baon kay Mama.
Here, we're gonna discuss one of the most important things to consider if you're a student. One of the top survival skills, actually. Igo?
How to budget your food allowance.
For the purpose of this video, we have set 1,500 pesos as the food budget allowance because that is the average food budget allowance of the group. Let's get it rolling!
Here in LaSalle, the school ensures not only to feed our hungry minds, but also our hungry tummies. LaSallians have different options like Agno, Lumen, Pericos, and a lot more. Igo?
That is why it is important to budget your food allowance. There are a lot of factors that might influence your decisions, such as how often do you get your food allowance, how much food allowance, how are your spending habits, and how much do you want to save, if ever.
So Igo, where do we start?
First, let's decompose the problem.
But how do you decompose a problem?
How about let's answer some questions that will help us solve the main problem, which is
How to budget your food allowance.
Question number 1. First, you should know how much is your total food allowance. But for you to get that, you should know how much is your total allowance and how often do you collect that said allowance. Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Yearly? And lastly, you should know how long you plan to budget it.
Question number 2. Identify what type of buyer are you. Are you a saver, a practical buyer, or a compulsive buyer? Then from there, you'll know how much you want to save. A saver saves 1/3 of his budget, a practical buyer saves 1/5 of his budget, and a compulsive buyer saves only 1/10 of his total budget. You know, everyday life is very
Unpredictable. So, Igo, what happens if one does not follow their budget for food?
well, you just have to identify what day of the week you did not follow it.
And if they exceeded their budget or spent less than it? Because if they exceed the said budget, then the exceeded amount will be subtracted from the allowance for the following day. And if they spent less than it, then it will be added to their savings. But what if that person spent too much on a Friday?
Well, you just have to subtract it from your savings, which will be further discussed by our next Sallian correspondents.
So in this part, we'll be talking about the data and algorithm. So first is you get your allowance. And then second, you set aside how much you want to save so you can budget and control your allowance. Third, since there are 5 school days a week, you divide the remaining balance into 5. So for example, your weekly food allowance is 1,500. You want to save 500 and then the remaining balance, which is 1,000, you divide it into 5, which will lead to 200 daily allowance. There are 3 different kinds of spending habits. The savers, practical buyers, and the compulsive buyers. So first, the savers. They save 1/3 of their budget and then the remaining 2/3 of their food. And then the practical buyers, they save 1/5 of their budget allowance and then 4/5 on food. While the compulsive buyers, they save 1/10 of their budget and then spends 9/10 on food allowance.
So after you purchase, there are 2 outcomes. The first outcome is when you spend less than your allotted food budget allowance on that day. The excess will be then added to your savings. The second outcome is when you spend more than your food budget allowance on that day. If this occurs during Mondays to Thursdays, you will then have to subtract the excess from the next day. But if this occurs during Fridays, you will then have to subtract the excess from your savings.
Hey Bea, do you wanna join me sa Agno? I'm kinda hungry na kasi.
Wala na kasi akong food allowance for this week eh.
What? It's only Tuesday. You've already spent your weekly food allowance. How are you going to survive, Bea?
Ang dami ko kasi nagastos yesterday, so wala na. Sana nga there's a way for me to budget my food allowance better.
Don't worry, Bea. There is a way. I got you. So, Bea, you should follow a pattern on budgeting your weekly food allowance. After getting your weekly allowance, Pick the type of buyer you want to be. This will determine your weekly savings and your weekly food allowance. After determining how much your weekly food allowance is, divide it into 5. Since there are 5 school days in a week, your daily food allowance is divided wherein 40% of it goes to snacks and 60% of it goes to your lunch. When you overspend on the day, make sure to subtract it on your food allowance the next day. And when you have more than enough, make sure to add it to your weekly savings. So Bea, you can be any different kind of buyer on different weeks. But on the end of the week, you still have your savings. And the pattern goes on and on. So do you already know how to budget your weekly food allowance?
Yeah, I think I got it. So step 1, you get your weekly allowance. And then step 2, you choose the type of buyer you want to be. And step 3 is you make sure that you only use the maximum amount of food allowance allotted for the week.
Okay, and then in no time, you will have savings. Okay?
Thank you.
Sure.
So, we've covered a lot of content in this video so far.
That's right.
Now, to sum it all up, how you budget your food allowance generally comes down to what type of buyer you are. Ikaw ba, Reza? Anong klaseng buyer ka?
Ako, I think I'm more of a saver.
Oh, what Reza means by that is that she saves more and spends less. Ano? Maganda nga pala yun. Ako kasi, Reza, I am a practical buyer, which means I only buy the things which are practical to me. This makes me have a good grasp of both what it means to save and to spend. Pero Reza, what if I tell you na may third type of buyer ba? Would you believe me? The third type of buyer is the compulsive buyer. This means that you spend more and save less without knowing so.
Oh, ganun pala yun. So similarly, may naisip pa akong isang problem wherein the solution of allocating can also be applied.
Oh, ano yun, Reza?
It is the asset allocation. Ang asset allocation, it is an investment strategy that aims to balance risk and reward by apportioning a portfolio's assets according to an individual's goals, risk tolerance, and investment horizon. It is one of the most important decisions that investors have to make.
So, ang allocation pala, marami pa siyang applications sa different fields in life.
Yes, definitely.
Investors might use different asset allocations for different purposes. Someone who's saving for a new car the next year, for example, might invest his or her funds at a very conservative mix of cash, CDs, and short-term bonds.
For individuals saving for retirement that may be decades away typically invest the majority of his individual retirement accounts or IRA in stocks since he has a lot of time to ride out the market short-term fluctuations. Risk tolerance plays a key factor as well. Someone not comfortable investing in stocks may put his money in a more conservative allocation despite the long time horizon.
Budgeting your food allowance can actually go a long way. It can help you in making strategies for your investment in stock and when purchasing of high-value assets such as cars, houses, and the likes.
Exactly. Budgeting food allowance actually helps us in analysis and decision making in real-life applications. So as students, it's very important for us to learn these things so that we may apply it in our daily lives. So, it is better to be safe than sorry.
Life is really hard.
And to balance things like your budget,
Necessary to survive.
Not only in school, but in everyday life.
Sallian Insider.
Ang karamay mo sa hirap at ginhawa.
see you next time, classmates!